point, design for test. Up to now in this model we have discussed about the design flow, that is architectural design, synthesis design, physical design, and at each stage we have verified it designs, and then we are given that design to the manufacturer. So fabrication process will be done and the IC will be ready. Chip is ready now. Now it is necessary to design all the chips. Okay. So whether these ICs are working properly or not, whether they are meeting given requirements and constraints or not, so that we have to check. Some of the times while manufacturing there are several problems, several faults will be occurring. These faults may include at the time of wafering, or it may be include at the time of during packaging. Some of the times whole batch is going to be faulty, all the chips are going to be faulty. Then we have to test it. What is the aim of our testing? What is the aim of our testing? That is, it is to identify defective chips, so that they can be discarded out instead of going towards the customer. Find out cause of the location. We have to find out cause of the location, and so that we can adjust our design process. Okay, and will increase our yield. Okay, in this case of ASIC designing, development test as a part of design process, and test development is a part of process developing in FPGA. Okay, so there are very simple circuits or there may be a complex circuits. It is very easy to test simple circuit or small ICs. It can be very easy to test, but more number of pins ICs, complexity, if the number of pins are going on increasing, complexity will go on increasing, and then to test so larger ICs, it is very difficult. So test very simple ICs, we have to generate all the test cases and we have to verify the outputs. Okay, but for small IC it is very easy, but for large IC, so as the number of pins are going on increasing, so number of test conditions will go on increasing, and it is not practically to generate all the test cases and we have to verify it. Okay, so it is a time consuming, and for that we require a particular test equipment, and so these test equipments are very costly, and so these resources using it will be very costly and it is a time consuming. Okay, so that we have to minimize, the use of costly equipments, and you have to save the time of testing. Okay, so to reduce the time of cost, and we have to add additional circuitry for the design. Okay, so that is design for test. So design for test, we have to include one more circuitry that will automatically test the circuitry. Okay, so that it will increase its testability and it will decrease the delay of testing. So for this there are two approaches, that is, one is a fault model and fault simulation, and another it is a fault design and scan voltage. Okay, so we will discuss about these two, fault model and fault design first. So fault model, so as the name indicates, the fault model is that, so we are going to apply various test conditions for the circuit, and for this test condition, so it will give different outputs. If the circuit is working okay, it will give correct output, and if the circuit is faulty, then it will not give correct output. Okay, so if we apply different patterns, different test conditions, for different patterns and different test conditions, it will give a particular kind of output, and depending upon that kind of output, so you can guess which fault is occur. Consider different kinds of faults occurs. So for a particular input, some kind of fault is occur, and depending upon that fault, we can detect where will be the fault is occurred and which fault is occurred. Okay, this technique is called as a fault model. So that we will rely on the fault model that are abstraction of the effects produced by the faults. We will rely on the fault model that are abstractions of the effects produced by the faults. Okay, so we have to expose the fault. So by applying various test conditions, so automatically that test conditions are such that it will expose different kinds of faults. For different kind of fault, we have to apply different test cases, and automatically it will expose the fault is there or not. Okay, so for that purpose, there is a fault simulator. And fault simulator will generates different test conditions, and it will simulate the fault, simulate the circuitry at a given location. Okay, it will apply test vectors and verify the test output. Okay, so various test conditions are applied and various outputs will be checked and it will verify it. So for particular test cases for particular fault, so that test cases will be overcome, and then it will we have to repeat for the another fault. Okay, we have to go for the all the test cases so that all the faults will be overcome. So we have to cover all the faults. So fault covering means after applying all the test patterns, it will detect all the faults whatever they are going to be occurred into the IC, that will be covered. So it should cover all the 100% faults. So for that case, in this case, the simulator, it will use ATGP. What is meant by ATGP? Automatic Test Pattern Generator. It will have ATGP, Automatic Test Pattern Generator, and EDA tool. So ATGP, it will generate all the test cases, and EDA tool, it will analyze the circuit. So it will generates minimal test vectors. It will generate minimal test vectors so that all the faults it will be covered and the testing will be faster. Okay, so commonly used model is the Struck-at model. Commonly used model is a Struck-at model. That is okay. Let us consider Struck-at1 model. So let us see this example, that is a circuit with Struck-at1 fault. So you can see here one input of AND gate. So this point or this input of AND gate is connected to 1, and now by means of there will be a short circuit at the VCC. Now we have to test, or how we have to detect this fault. So by applying various test cases, we can detect this fault. Let us suppose if we apply any conditions at the point B and C, and whatever maybe A is equal to 1. If you apply B is equal to 0 and B is equal to 1, if you apply A is equal to any condition, that is 0 or 1, but b is equal to 1 and b is equal to c is equal to 0, or c is equal to 1 and b is equal to 0, at that time, or both either these inputs may be, both these inputs may be 1. So at that time there is no occur here, there is no condition is going to be occur. If both the inputs are 0, at that condition this output will get 0, and that we can detect here. Means when this inputs may be 1, a is equal to 1, and these are the 0 0 conditions, 1 and these are the 0 0 condition, at that time we can detect the fault. Or in other cases, that is if it is equal to a is equal to 1 and 1 0 or 0 1 or 1 1, at that time this fault is not going to be detected, this fault will be masked and this will not be, so you will get correct output. Now we have to apply two conditions such that a is equal to 1 and b is equal to, b and c are 0 0, at that time you will get output, that is you will get 1 now, that is fault will be detected here. So for a particular test cases, this fault will be detected when a is equal to 1 and b and c are 0 0, at that time output you are getting 1, but you should get output is equal to 0 0, and hence for a particular test case you will get struck at one fault at the one input of AND gate. This we can find out. In this way we can find out struck at fault. Okay, so this struck at fault will be found. Likewise the various faults will be there, and these faults we can detect by applying various test cases. So another faults are the transistor level circuits fault. In this transistor level circuit, the transistor may be on or may be off, that is transistor struck on or transistor struck off. If there is inverter, suppose if there is a CMOS inverter, so p type transistor is struck to on, so continuously you will get high output, or n type transistor is continuously on, at that time you will get continuously 0 output. Whatever may be the input, you will get the either 0 or either 1, that will be the continuous irrespective of your input, and hence the fault can be detected. Okay, struck at 0 and struck at 1 output. Okay, so likewise other faults are there. The short circuit condition, short circuit between the two wires, that also will be detected, or delay will be going to be occurred into the circuit, that fault also will be detected. So another faults, that is bridging fault, that is you will get the short circuit fault. Okay, so that also will be detected. That another fault like hard and soft errors, that is in case of storage element. So we know that in case of storage element you will get the two types of faults, that may be hard fault or soft fault. Okay, that is a particular memory location may be permanently damaged or permanently off. Okay, permanent or temporarily off. Okay, in that case, by applying a data line, by applying a data input, if you apply particular data case, the memory location is changed, then you will get a memory locations. If in that same memory location, if we store the same data, if it is correctly stored, then fault is soft, that is error is soft error, and if the error will be repeated, then that error is a hard error. Okay, in this way we can detect the hard and soft errors. Okay, then the next point is that scan design and scan boundary. In previous method, that is in fault model or fault simulation method, into that case this will be used for only combinational circuit. That previous method, it is used for only combination method, and it is not used for the sequential circuit. For example, registers and other storing elements, that will not be tested. In case of combinational and sequential circuits, they are buried. Means what is that? These components are buried deep in the data path, okay, and hence it is very difficult to control and observe its output. Okay, for that case, to scan design and scan boundary technique is used. Okay, scan design technique, it is used for the particularly sequential methods. So here registers are modified to form a long chain. Registers are modified to form a long chain. Okay, so that is to form long shift registers, and it is nothing but scan chain. It is long registers are nothing but the scan chain. Okay, so in this case, test vectors are applied. Various test vectors are shifted into the shift registers, and continuously test vectors are shifted into the shift registers, and output is observed. Whatever the input sequence is applied, the same sequence you are getting at the output side, you can verify the registers. Okay, means there will be no problem. Okay, so there, in case of scan chain, you can see this scan chain technique here. It is in the scan chain technique here. The registers are there. This is a register, this is a register, and the combination circuit are also. This is combination circuit, this is combination circuit, this is combination circuit. So there are two modes. That is, scan input we have to apply here. Scan in means various test conditions we have to shift into the register. That is, this will be applied here, then this will be applied here. Continuously, all the sequences are shifted into all the registers. Okay, suppose the 8-bit registers are there, 8 sequences we need to shift. Okay, and another condition is this test mode condition. So into that test mode condition, we have to apply the test mode condition, and particular at that clock we are going to check the output. So this is used for a particular testing of the combinational circuit. So this technique is used for sequential circuit testing as well as the combinational circuit testing. So here, so shifting will be done till input should reach all the registers, and then we have to apply for the run outputs. Means run mode we have to apply, so that output will be. So actually, in case of, particularly in case of combinational circuit, so registers will be detected, or fault into the register will be detected by only simply scanning technique. We have to apply the sequence, and we have to check the sequence, and we have to observe, and we can verify it. But in case of combinational circuit, we have to apply all the sequences in all the registers, and then we have to use the run mode. So in the run mode, this input is applied into the register. This input is applied into register, and you will get you can verify output, error, drive, and you can check this output. This check outputs are verified. So in this way, we can detect, or we can detect fault occurred into the combinational block. Okay, so we can observe, we can detect the faults occurred into the sequential circuit as well as faults occurred into the combinational circuit. So this technique is used to increase testability. Advantage of this, it increases testability and controllability. It increases the controllability and testability. So ATPG, automatic test pattern generator, it will generate all the test patterns for different faults, different test patterns it will generate, and all types of faults it will be tested. So all the test cases will be generated and repeated for all types of faults, so that fault will be covered 100%. So 100% fault coverage will be achieved by using this method. So disadvantage of this method, that is area is increased to 2 to 10%. So that is the drawback of this system, that is, so area required here it will be more. Necessarily the mux are required, and due to the increase into the hardware circuit. Okay, so what are the disadvantage here? That is area is increased, additional circuitry is required like mux, and it will require more test time, so hence delay will be more, time required for test is more. That is the drawback of this system. Okay, but advantage is that we can cover all the coverage, faults will be covered here. Okay, so this next point is that boundary scan. So this scan design technique can be extended for the use of testing of chips on PCB also. Okay, the scan design can be extended for the use of testing the connections between the chips on a PCB, and hence it is called as a boundary scan. So boundary scan technique, it is used beyond the chip. In between the chips, interconnections also can be checked, and hence it is called as a boundary scan technique. So on the PCB tracks, there are various points we can take. What it uses idea? So in this case, scan chain flip-flops are used onto the external pins of the PCB, onto the PCB tracks. Onto the PCB tracks, scan chain techniques is used. Okay. So here on each pin or on a output of the pin, there will be a scan chain flip-flops will be there. So external pins at each PCB, there will be the scan chain flip-flops. Now we want to test all the PCBs. Okay, we want to test that PCB. Okay, the test equipment generates test vectors, and test vectors are shifted into the scan chain. Okay, now scan chain flip-flop samples the external inputs as well as the output produced at various points, and then they are verified. Okay, the test equipments can verify all the faults. That faults may be on the in between the chips, that is package pins or PCB tracks. We can detect the various faults. For this, we have to generate different kinds of test vectors, and we can detect the different kinds of faults. So this technique, that is boundary scan technique, it is very successful. Boundary scan technique, it is very successful for the PCB design. So as the success of the boundary scan technique is lead to form joint test action group in 1980s for the standardizing boundary scan components and protocols. Okay, so IEEE standard, they have generated this joint test action group, JTAG. It is very famous for the particularly in case of fault detection. Okay, and now it is a standard for PCB or all types of boundary scan techniques. It is a ideal, that is JTAG technique is used here. Okay, so what it contains? The JTAG standard specifies that each components have a test cases part, the test access part, that is TAP, test access part, consisting of the following connections. Okay, so it will have test clock, that is TCK, test access points, and then it will have test clock, that is it will provide clock for the signals to be tested. Okay, test clock, it will provide the clock signals for the test logic. Then test data input. Test data input serial, it will provide the serial data for the test data and instructions. So it will have also test mode select input, so it will, we can control the test mode operations. Okay, control test. Okay, another it will have, that is test data output, it will give the serial data output for the test data and the instructions. Okay, there is also an optional pin, that is a test reset input. Test reset input, but it is not widely used, so it is rarely used in practice. Okay, so this is about the scan design and scan boundaries. Okay, so today we'll stop here.